everyone, and welcome to Motormouth, brought to you by the Boyertown Museum of Historic Vehicles. And we're out here at Boyertown Community Park because today is the 52nd annual Duryea Day Antique and Classic Car and Truck Show and Flea Market.
You did that so well.
It's a long name to remember.
It
I thought
is.
Boyertown Museum of Historic Vehicles was long.
Yeah,
I know.
and I would mess that one up too. That's why you introduce these things, not me.
But you know what? We stepped out of the nice, dry confines of the diner today, and it's a little rainy here today.
A little bit, off and on.
A little bit. It hasn't been pouring. We unfortunately don't have as many cars as usual, but we still have a great selection of cars and trucks here today to check out, and we're going to meet some really neat owners, and they're really cool cars, and hear their really interesting stories behind them.
Yep.
So, and I want to thank, too, we're very lucky this month that our friends at Haggerty Insurance have sponsored our show today. So they made it possible for us to come out here and walk around and see all these great cars. And they're probably insuring some of those cars and keeping them safe on the road, and we appreciate that, too. So thank you, Haggerty, for letting Motormouth take our journey out here to the park this year. So we're, let's see, we're going to, I guess, move on here soon, but you know, we're not live. Duryea Day's already happened by the time you're watching this, but hopefully if you have not been able to get to Duryea Day before, this will entice you to come. There's lots of stuff here today. You can see behind us there's a whole bunch of cars. Actually, those cars right behind us we're not really going to talk to today. We're going to talk to some others in different parts of the park.
Yep.
But even on a day like today where the weather was a little iffy, we had a good variety of things here. So.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So I don't know what we're going first. Maybe the truck field, maybe some cars. But we'll see you in just a minute, and we're going to check out the first car today.
On the road again. Just can't wait to get on the road again. The life I love is making music.
All right, well, we're here now with Jim Lytle, and Jim, I think you might have come the furthest today. You came from out of state, correct?
Yep, from Worcester, Ohio, about 7-hour drive.
Well, thanks for coming, and you have something very unique.
Very unique, yes.
Yeah, not a car.
No, it's not even motorized.
No, it doesn't have a motor in it. What are we looking at here?
We're looking at in 1962, my father, my sister and I were showing horses a lot as kids, and he just came home one spring day and made a horse trailer out of a Boyertown milk truck. He spent that winter, we had an asphalt paving company, and my dad was very talented. He just made it a trailer, just like he made different equipment trailers to haul rollers and things like that for the company. He just made a trailer, but he needed something on top, so he found a junkyard. He found an old milk truck, and it truly is the greatest horse trailer because horses, you know, most trailers you see are all darkened around front. This one, with all the windows that you have from the milk truck, they're just like a dog. They love to look out. They love to see. They want to eat and go down the road. Horses truly love this trail. My dad used to haul neighbor kids and stuff to fairs and stuff, and some of them wouldn't load other trailers, but they'd always get in ours because they could see. So it's very practical. It's the best trailer in the world for horses, and still today. It's the 4-H. I gave it to the 4-H clubs back home because I don't have horses now. But same way, I had one guy said, "Well, we have to drug our horse to get it on. We don't have any pills." I said, "We'll get him on." He just walked right on.
So I remember you wanted to come here last year, but you had some problems. But you sent me pictures, and then you sent me pictures again this year. But the thing is, it's very recognizable as a Boyertown truck because the way the windows are. And right before we start filming here, you pointed out a couple other features on this that, you know, is the Boyertown truck part of it. So as far as the body, it's probably from here forward is, you know, what your dad made.
Well, but the top part is my dad would never had the ability. We had no ability to form it. That had to be the original front part. This is he changed because it would have had a grill.
Okay.
You know, for the engine. You know.
Yep.
So this is my dad did this, but from here up, this is you can see the old vent, and inside you can see where there's the vent came in to to cool off the driver and things like that. But the Boyertown here, this is your handles. You can tell this is your handles.
Our handles.
It matches that truck right beside us
Right,
over there.
yep.
It has the same handles, and you can see this is a very common denominator on all your trailers. You have this white, it's a channel. It's just not a, maybe on the video it'll just show it as a white paint stripe. That's not a stripe, that's a channel, and that's part of the trailer. So those three things, your window pattern, that I sure believe it's a Boyertown.
Right, right, yeah. So you know, I've seen restored Boyertown trucks here and there. You see them. There's not many, but never one that's been converted to a horse trailer.
Well, it's really unique what my dad did. I don't know, your cameraman can't move it in there, but he made it so you can walk through with your horses. If some horses you need to lead them in, some horses want. If you, I'm not gonna go in there if you don't go in there. So you can walk in there. You can do this. You can put the hay racks up, give them their food, do this and that. My dad made beds come out of the side here up tops because my sister and a couple of friends used to like to sleep in the afternoons between shows and stuff. So he made it so they had beds come out of the sides of the trailer. So there's a lot of unique things that I sure have fond memories.
Oh yeah.
What my dad did. So he was talented.
So
Yeah.
go ahead.
So you have an in memory of Faye Lytle.
That was my sister. She got killed in a car accident. She used to be a 4-H advisor and with horses and stuff like that. So I just thought I'd put her name on it. But we lost her 20 years ago. So. But she spent a lot of good days, and it was nice where the engine compartment was. That's where you threw your saddles, and that's where you threw the saddles and all the blankets up front. So,
It's really unique though. This is cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
And he got this out of a junkyard, you said.
Everything. I'm sure the axles for the trailer. My dad didn't waste. There's probably nothing too new except the paint was new.
So you repurposed, isn't that the word they use?
Yeah.
You repurposed it. So
Yeah, Dad,
okay.
that's a much better word.
So all you viewers out there, if you see a Boyertown body in a junkyard, you can use it.
Here's one use for it now. One
Right.
possible use.
One use.
You look how good this. You look how if my dad in '62 built this in '61 or '2, whatever, that this trailer probably had to be junk. So is it 20 years older? Could be the late 30s. This is 75 plus year old. This here, right here, is 75 years old. That's how old this thing is. It looks pretty good.
Yeah.
It
Looks
might
a
go a
lot
couple
better
more
than
days.
me.
I mean, I'm just
when
thinking
I'm
how old
70.
this trailer is. You know, from '62 makes it pretty old.
Right.
But that thing had to be junk at '62. So
Okay.
how old is this girl? I have no idea. I know somebody from here might be able to define it.
And I'm thinking the 50s, early, maybe 1950-ish, somewhere
Oh, yeah,
in there.
54. Well,
So,
50. That'd only be 10 years.
65.
I doubt they threw it away at 10 years. I bet it's at least 20-year-old. Most things you don't throw away at 10, but who knows?
So, yeah.
We appreciate you driving all the way out here and bringing it home for a weekend.
Do you have something to haul it, or did you have to pull it all the way? With, no,
Yeah, I've been a
I'm
yeoman's job there.
I'm kidding you,
Yeah.
So, okay. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
On the road again. Just can't wait to get on the road again.
All right, well, now we're back here in the woods at Boyertown Park, and we have found a 47 Mercury owned by Jim and Rhonda Dobbins. Jim, when did you get this car?
We've had it for about 20 years now, and you know, just had a lot of fun with it, taking it to shows and just driving around locally.
And did you restore it? Did it come this way, or?
It mechanically was pretty much together when I got it, but I worked on the paint and upgraded the suspension and other things. So, yeah.
So you said it's a paint. Now, I remember you telling me this is a Lincoln color, I believe.
It's a Cadillac.
Cadillac. Oh, you know, I get all those rich cars mixed up. So it's Cadillac paint and.
Yeah, I think it's a '93 Cadillac Alante.
Okay, it's really sharp, and you know you were describing over the phone to me the color. I don't know if it's hard to figure out colors over the
Yeah.
phone, but you drove in and it's like wow.
I didn't think
sharp.
it was fire engine red. It was
No.
more of a creamy
Yeah, that's
red.
the word you use,
Yeah,
creamy.
creamy red.
And I'm thinking, I don't know. I don't know. So got a Chevy engine in, I believe you said?
Yes,
Yeah?
small block Chevy,
Okay.
355.
Okay. and it rides nice. I guess it rides like a modern car because
Yeah,
it's pretty much that way.
Updated suspension, tubular upper and lower arms.
Yeah, I was gonna get.
Shock.
Yeah, everything's modern on it.
Spring,
so.
shock inside spring.
Okay. So the interior is all nice and new. You put a lot of miles on. A lot?
No, we don't. We go local, under 1,000 miles usually a year.
That's pretty
But
good.
still,
How far do you live from here?
about 20 miles.
Okay, 20 miles. So today, because of the sort of iffy weather, you were wondering if you're going to put that 20 miles on
I
today.
was watching the weather
Yeah.
till the very end.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you did. So,
And it
so
looks-
if you viewers have really good eyes and it's nice and clear, you can see. You know, it's not the. You might see little spots on here, little ones. So
Yes, it's been
yeah,
dripping on it.
dripping a little bit. So.
This is our first kind of rainy day in a while, so
Yeah. Why today?
we were pushing our luck, I guess.
Why today? Well, yeah. So.
Is this? I mean, is this a car you see often? I mean, how?
I
is it
don't
pretty
see
rare?
these. Mercury coupes.
It's rare.
Yeah.
We go to Hershey, to the antique show up
Yeah.
there, and
You don't see
yell
them there.
down the aisles, 47 Mercury parts, and they yell back, "Good luck."
Yeah. Okay.
So
Now you had this at Wheels of Time
I did.
last weekend. I remember
Yes,
you telling me. How?
McCungy.
Yeah. How was that?
that was a good
That
show.
was a good show, yeah.
It was. I was glad to see it was a lot more crowded on Saturday than normal.
Really
So
good.
they had a good turnout.
Good. Good.
Because that show was kind of going downhill.
Yeah. I
But
kind
was
of
good.
heard that. So. Well, thanks for bringing it.
Oh,
I
yeah.
appreciate it. Thank you for spending these few minutes with us. And
My pleasure.
yeah. So.
Thanks for brightening up the back end of the park here. It
Yeah.
sure stands out.
Right.
It was easy to find when you're telling me it's
Yep.
the red one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Another red
Yeah.
one. Yeah. Okay.
Thanks.
On the road again. Just can't wait to get on the road again. The life I love is making music.
All right, we're now here with Matt Murray, and Dan and I have seen this truck before, so
Yes, we have.
yeah, we know a little bit about
This
it.
is one cool truck.
It is really cool. So Matt, tell us a little bit about it.
So this truck is it's a 42 Ford delivery truck. It was originally a butcher truck. It was found in a barn, actually at an estate auction, but it sat since '61 in the barn, and it actually came with all the butcher equipment was actually in it. And I did a light mechanical restoration on it, and I'm just enjoying it, having fun. It's my swap meet hauler, so I just throw parts in it and take it to the swap meets and the shows.
And that's neat. I like that you didn't really mess with it beyond just getting it running.
Yeah, it's hand painted. It's old sign painter painted it, and that's part of the allure to it is that it has the original logos on it. So I didn't want to mess with those. I could restore it, but it probably gets more looks as is. It's solid as far as the metal and the wood goes in it. So I just embrace the bumps and the bruises on it and just have fun with it. So.
And it's neat. You mentioned about the lettering on the side, and you can still read everything on the side, and
yeah.
it's kind of really neat. And as you say, it's part of that old look and such.
Yeah, it's and actually when you look at it, we might be able to get shots. The sign painter signed his name real small underneath of each logo. It says Willis, real small.
Really?
So
Okay.
that was a thing. A guy I met that was an old pinstriper. He said sign painters and pinstripers would always put their signature underneath so that you knew who did it. So Willis, whoever he was, did a great job, and you can actually see it real small underneath of it. And that's little stuff like that on this truck just makes me geek out about it. I think it's so neat.
Now
So.
like the drivetrain on here is all original to
Yeah.
this year?
Yeah, it's got original flathead in it. I think the engine was replaced at some point in its life, but it does have the original 85 horse flathead in it. Still 6-volt, positive ground. I just went through and made a new wiring harness for it, and like I said, did a mechanical restoration so it's safe to drive, but looks pretty much how it would have been, you know, as they would have been delivering meat in it back in 1942.
Okay. Okay. Now the thing is with this, what was I going to say? Oh, the body on this
Yes.
is okay. We don't know. You don't know where the body is, and you were thinking it was York Hoover because they're close by, right?
Yeah,
Down in York.
Yeah, Dillsburg's where the business was out of and the truck resided, I think, originally because of the logos. So I had just assumed or had thought it was York Hoover, but I guess you guys know a little more than me. So
Right. And I was thinking, boy, it'd be great if it was a Boyertown
I
truck,
had
but
wished,
we
yeah.
kind of voted against that too. And I actually did a little bit of research. I asked a friend of mine who's big with these trucks about it, and you know, he suggested another local company out of Reading, Beal Carriage, and which would be cool. But there's no identifying marks on it. You know, I don't know. Maybe somebody really into these things could say, well, you know, the way the beading is around the edge of the roof or something. Who knows?
I would love to know. That would make it. That would really complete the vehicle if I knew what it was.
So hopefully, you know, the close-up pictures we get of this, and you know, our vast viewing audience, you know, the billions of people watching, and there might be somebody in, you know, China who's watching this online. And they'll say, hey, yeah, that's a such and such truck.
Yeah, that would
I don't
be
know.
great.
I'm being kind of facetious here, but still, you don't know. You know, there might be people who watch us who will say, you know, I remember this truck from back in 1942, and you know, my uncle was so and so, and you know, I remember him picking this up or something. Who knows?
I did a little research on the truck, and I found some old newspaper archive websites, and I found some ads for the business for the local farmers market in Dillsburg with their business name. And then I found that in, I think it was 60 or 61, he the gentleman who owned the business, he opened a Studebaker dealership.
Okay.
So I'm assuming that's when the inspection sticker last on this is that maybe he parked it, opened a Studebaker dealership. We all know, if you're into this, that Studebaker didn't last very long past that. So he didn't make a good business decision probably, but that was all I could find. I was hoping to find an old ad with maybe the truck in it or something. So I would love if somebody had something from, you know, an old ad or something that would make my day if I could find that. So
okay.
Yeah, if anyone at home knows, they need to contact us and give us the scoop.
Yeah, that would be great. So do you guys want to see some of the neat stuff on the truck?
Yeah, well, we'll get that. You know, you know, Gus will have the close-ups of this and such.
Now, you said it came with butcher equipment. What happened to that stuff?
I still have it. When I bought it, the truck had actually the original like meat cabinet in it, but it was built kind of crudely with some tin, a lot of asbestos insulation. So when I got the truck, the meat locker area, if you will, was basically falling out of the truck. So I made the decision to pull all that stuff out. It was very crude. I took a ton of photos, and I kept the meat slicer. The meat scale actually used to bolt next to the driver's seat, and they had a ball and socket swivel, so you could actually swivel it out of the way because you can't get into third gear in this with the scale. So they had an old porcelain scale, and they would swivel it out of the way, and it had a ball or had a level in it, a bubble level in it, and he would put it up, level it out, and then he would slice his meat, you know, do it on it. And I have the original table that was the butcher table with the cash drawer, and the butcher part was missing, but I still do have all those pieces. So whether I get rid of it or, you know, I keep it forever, I want to keep that stuff with the truck. So the scale was the big thing. It's still in beautiful condition. It's just really hard to drive the thing with it in place. So I have it set away. The holes are in the floor. It's real quick to put it in if I want to display it, but I kept all that stuff with it. So
I appreciate that you did that. Like, you went the extra mile to keep all that stuff. I think that's cool. I mean, that's what this truck did. It's most of its life, so keep that stuff in it.
Yeah, keep it with it. And that way, again, I think ahead, because it's like, you know, someday I might get rid of it and somebody wants to do a full restoration to it. They have those pieces that are so important to it. And I took a ton of photos, so the cabinet section you could easily recreate. It was pretty simple. You could recreate and put it back in there. But the other neat thing it had was they scavenged the compressor section out of a home refrigerator, and that was what was in the back. And it actually had hanging from the roof was an area where the refrigerant was in, and you would plug it in overnight and run just the compressor section of an old fridge. It was mounted to a board, run it overnight. That would keep that cool, and then you would drive around. That's the asbestos insulation, of course, kept it cool. So kind of crude, but really smart, you know, the way
efficient.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm thinking again, this butcher just made his own stuff to put in the back.
As crude as it was, I wouldn't be surprised because when I pulled it apart, it was literally just like, it was like tin that you would see on a barn or something that was bent up and put in, and the woodwork was pretty crude in it. And the thing that fascinated me is the whole entire back of the truck was taken up. There was only maybe 2 feet of storage in the back of the truck.
Right.
So this huge truck with all the insulation, there was only enough room to store. The locker was only maybe this big,
Okay.
and then in the back there was maybe about that much, and that's it. So this huge truck was all taken up with all the insulation and all the stuff, so it wasn't very efficient to to use.
So I guess the first owner of it bought a truck with the body, but it was just empty, and then he equipped it like he wanted to.
Yeah,
Okay.
I could believe that.
Yeah,
You know, but
right.
like I said, I'd love to know some more history, but that's what I've
Yeah.
concluded with my
So,
research.
so you say this is your swap meet truck and stuff,
Yes.
and that's what you're doing right
Yeah,
here
setting
at
up the
Duryea
swap.
Day.
Yep.
Is you got a swap space here,
Yeah.
and so you use the haul now. Do you drive it around other places also?
Oh yeah, I drive this truck all over the place. I get Route 100, the highway right here.
Right.
I cruise it with the doors open all the time because the thing gets pretty hot inside. So I cruise the doors open down Route 100 doing 55, and people just lose their minds. It's hilarious.
That's what I was getting at. Yeah.
People, we were just joking about it. You could park the nicest street rod next to this, and people are just fascinated by it, just because it's so different that, people walk over and check it out. It's really neat. I mean, I don't drive it just for the looks. I drive it because I like it, but it is kind of neat. Everywhere you go to a gas station, you're not getting gas quick in this thing because you're always getting a 15-minute conversation about what is it, where to come from,
Oh, yeah.
does it move, you drove it here? And I'm like, yeah, I drove it.
I saw this truck from a distance a couple times. You sent me pictures once a few years ago, actually, and then you drove it over to the museum a couple months ago, and it's the first time I saw it up close, and it's like, wow, this is great. And it's some neat stuff here.
I say it's the closest thing to driving a dinosaur when you're sitting in it, because it's like you're riding an old creaky. It's it's awesome. It doesn't get more primitive as far as an old delivery truck goes. I love it. It's so fun.
Okay. So, well, thanks for bringing it. This is great, and it's just a neat truck, and you'll have to come out and see it, everybody, next year at Duryea Day.
Yeah,
or
I live right down the
you have
road.
it.
I live
So-
down the road, so I gotta bring it out.
So, right.
You're not allowed to get out of this one. So.
Okay.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
All right.
At all. Thanks for having
Yep.
me.
On the road again. Just can't wait to get on the road again. The life I love is making music with my friends, and I can't wait to get on the road again.
All right, we're here with our next car and owner. This is Steve Moser with a 72 Buick. Steve, what can you tell us about this car?
This car is actually a clone car. It is a GSX replica car. It's Skylark made to look like one. GSX was Buick's answer to the losing market share in the early 70s to Chevy Chevelle, Olds 442, and the one that seemed to bother him the most of all was the Pontiac GTO Judge. So in the mid-year of 1970, they came out with the GSX, which was a Grand Sport with extra options on it.
All right.
With the options, you got the 455 cubic inch V8 engine, heavier stabilizer bars and torsions and springs, and to handle the additional torque of the engine, and the graphics package, which is the striping along the side, sport mirrors, fancy wheels. And then by the time 71 rolled around, the GSX became more of an appearance package, where federal government was taking the horsepower out of the engines at that time, making them ready for unleaded gas, more pollution controls, things like that. And so they were just robbing the horsepower. So by 71, the GSX package became more of appearance. and it was available with the Buick 350 engine as well.
So by this point, it's more about the looks, really.
It is.
Okay.
It is. In the Judge had the stripes on, so they came out with this psychedelic stripe package here. So the spoilers and everything made it look really hot. This particular car has a actually has a Chevy 350 in it, so it's not even a Buick engine.
But now these GSX, and I've seen them here and there, and they're either yellow, right, or yellow or white.
Right.
Okay.
In 1970, when the GSX was introduced, it only came in Saturn yellow or Apollo white with a black interior. So if you find a 1970 GSX that's any color besides those two, it's a knockoff. So, and it always came with the 455 and the striping and all the other amenities that we mentioned. In 71, they opened the color palette to additional ones. By 72, then, you could have the GSX appearance package with any color you wanted and with the 350 engine, and that's what this one happens to be. There were only a total of, over the 3 years, 846 GSXs built between 1970 and 72. If this was an original 72 GSX, it would be one of 44.
That's all that's left?
You know, and I hear that number. It's like 1 of 44, and if you really want one, you know, I'm sure the price is up there, okay? And so, make your own. I don't know. That's...
Yeah, I didn't actually make this one.
Okay.
I did buy it from a classic car dealership in Connecticut, and I'm not sure. I think they purchased it in like this too, but they took the drivetrain, the original drivetrain, out. And this drivetrain is from a 1970 Chevy Chevelle.
Ouch. That was what they were trying to compete with, correct?
That was one of those marks they were trying to compete with, absolutely. This car is a definite warmed over engine. It probably, I'm guessing it's running around 350 horsepower, and has a lumpy cam in and all the stuff that the race car drivers like.
So you've had this car for a while, I don't know, 5 years?
I've had this
10?
car now. I bought it January a year past, so I have it about a year and a half now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So.
And we have a lot of fun with it. It's a family car. It's a driver. We're not afraid to drive it where we want to go.
Yeah.
Obviously, it got a little rained on earlier, but
Yeah,
it looks really good.
So.
Thank you. Thank you.
So. Okay.
But I think we're going to be seeing you again probably very shortly.
In a minute or two.
Yeah, we're going to reset because you actually brought 2 cars, or did you bring even more than that?
No.
You got
That's all the drivers I have.
Some of our people that attend bring multiple cars, and you're one of them. So we're going to reset the camera because you've got another vehicle here that we want to show you. Very different. So, yeah.
On the road again. Just can't wait to get on the road again. The life I love is making music with my friends, and I can't wait to get on the road again. On the road again.
Well, we shouldn't have moved because now it started raining. And so now Steve brought his other car. You've had this one much longer, and we're looking at some photos before we started filming. So this has a really neat story behind it, I think, too.
Yeah, this 1957 Chevy is a local car to the Boyertown area. It's been around here probably since it was purchased new, and a great aunt of mine owned it at the time. And this particular model I've owned since 1989, but when I bought it, it was in vastly different condition than this. It was a flood car. This was in Hurricane Agnes in 1972. It still sports the 1971 inspection sticker, now laminated, but on the windshield. That was the last time this car was ever inspected. When we bought it, it had a black Krylon paint job on, but we restored it with the original two-tone Harbor Blue Larkspur Blue paint job. The story from my aunt was that they loaned it to her sister in Pottstown, and when they went to get the car, they knew it was in a dangerous area when Agnes came through. When they went to get the car, they couldn't get to the car anymore because it was up to the windows in water. So when I got it and I started dismantling the car, I could see the mud that was inside of every body panel that I opened up or every piece of trim molding that I took off. And there was a mud line in the speedometer to show me exactly how high the water was up inside of the car. The interior obviously was ruined. The seats were just shredded. The headliner was stained. So the job began to dismantle the car piece by piece by piece, and which is what we did. Although the body did not come off the frame, it's in outstandingly good shape underneath as far as rust. It was not in really a rust bucket for any reason. We had a couple of panels fixed on it. But most of the work was done by myself, and what I couldn't do, I would sub out to local garages around here.
I was going to ask about the rust because it was, you know, underwater, or half of it was underwater. And, you know, I kind of wonder about that because after the floodwaters go down, well, now there's no thing, but, you know, does water stay in it, and, you know, does it start rusting things?
If it would have been a modern day car, it would have been totaled because of all the electronics that they put on the floor and under the seats. But don't forget, Dan, they made these cars out of real metal back then.
Right, yeah. Real
So
metal.
what we have here is a good, strong, heavy-duty steel. And but what you said about when the floodwaters go down, what's left behind? Mud and the little seed packets that fall out of the trees and go carried through there.
And, you know, and the car was 15 years old at that time. And, you know, who knows what else was stuck down in little crevices, and which would hold the water.
When I found the car, it was located in a dirt floor garage in the local area back in Bartow. And I looked at it 2 years before I even bought it. I knew where it was when I was 12 years old already. I used to drive that road with my bicycle. And when I saw it, and I was 20, I might have been 29 when I bought it, it was still there. And but now it's ours, and we use it. It's a family car. We brought my son along and my grandson now in this car, and we thoroughly enjoy just going places with it.
I was going to say, this is a family affair too, and you'll see a photo on your screen of a little kid with this car, and that is your...
That's my son. My son was maybe 4 or 5 when that picture was taken, and he wanted to go with me everywhere I went. And if we were hauling the car on a flatbed or a rollback, he wanted to go along. After we put the engine in and it still was black primer painted, we were driving it around on the back roads back of my dad's field, no headlights in it or anything like that.
Oh, wow.
It was a lot of fun.
That's neat.
And so your son wanted to go everywhere with you back then, but also today.
Even today.
Because he's one of the drivers, and now you got your grandson hoping to come
He drove
with you.
this car
Yeah.
with my grandson, who's, what, 14 months? 15 months now. He's 15 months old. We have the car seat in the back here, and we brought him. We're starting him young in the car hobby.
Oh, absolutely.
He'll be driving one of these cars next year when we get
Yeah.
here, right? Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that
Yeah.
pedal car at least.
We'll get him a little pedal car. Yeah.
Or is he already there with the pedal car?
Probably not yet with the pedal car, but soon. But
Okay.
we've had him to a couple different shows over the years, and he seems to enjoy them so far.
Well, this is really neat. I would never have believed this was in Hurricane Agnes.
Yeah.
I
there
never
you go.
believe it. It looks
And
beautiful.
It's interesting because, you know, as we stand here right now, you know, everybody's mind is still down in Texas where they had, you know, I heard 1 million cars were totaled and so on and so forth. And you think of that stuff, and, you know, they were, as you said, if it was today's car, this would have been totaled back in '72. And so now, do you drive this quite often? Now,
Yes, we've actually had this car to Niagara Falls, Virginia Beach, in the condition that you see it in now, and Salisbury, Maryland. They were some classic Chevy events that we've
Right.
had it to. Lately, I haven't driven it very far, but it's totally roadworthy, and it would go. It would go just about anywhere.
Yeah.
The thing we enjoy most about the hobby is that the cars are as individual as the people that make it up. And that's what's so much fun about this whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah, the individuals. I like that because, you know, there's a great community, and it's not all the cars, but it's the people too. So.
Yeah.
Very cool. Great
right.
story. And I guess if it survived Agnes, it can survive this little bit of rain we have today. So
Let's hope
this is
so.
nothing. Although your poor son wiped it down and then it rained again. Beating very nicely out
It
there.
is very nicely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, thank you for coming and braving the weather. And
Thank you.
hopefully we'll see you next year here.
Okay.
Thanks.
On the road again. Just can't wait to get on the road again.
Well, hey, we got another 57 Chevy, although this one a wagon. And we're here with the owner, Woody Nice. And thank you for coming today.
Thank you for having us.
And you got the surfboard and everything?
Yep. The
And-
Woody shirt.
So how long have you had this car?
49 years.
Wow.
I bought it for $75 in 1969.
$75. How'd
So
you get that deal?
I worked with a guy and he just wanted to get rid of it. The one fender was all bent up.
Okay.
It ran, 6-cylinder stick. So we came to an agreement, $75, and he signed the title over to me, and the rest is history.
Wow.
It's been through 3 marriages and 2 divorces, and I still got it.
So you did a lot of work to it, I guess,
Yeah.
right? You know, I'm sure this isn't the original
down,
paint.
Down to bare metal
Down to bare metal.
on the
Okay.
rotisserie,
Mm-hmm.
frame off.
Okay.
I hate to admit it, but this is a Ford color. This is seafoam green, 55 through 57 T-Birds
Okay.
and Ford pickups used
Okay.
this color.
Mhm.
And I have a 40 Ford vintage stock car, and the plan was that I was going to get a trailer and hook the race car up to the back of it because they're both the same color,
Okay.
and would have been about period correct. So, but we had 8 to 12 guys every week, every Monday night. We'd feed them, and then we'd go out and work in the garage for 3 to 4 hours.
Uh-huh.
And 57 weeks it was done. Now, it wasn't 57 consecutive. There was holidays and stuff in there, but actual 57 weeks, 2,700 hours,
Okay. Wow. That's a lot. A
24,
real lot.
24 people, men and women, worked
Uh-huh.
on the car.
So it's like a community effort here.
Well, it was all my, I have good friends. I have
Yeah.
really, really good friends.
Mm-hmm.
And I was told that I might have cancer, and the way this was sitting up on my lift, and everything from the firewall up was taken off.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife, I was a little upset that if I had cancer, I wasn't going to get the car finished. The wife got on the phone with my friends, and they got it all set up. Every Monday night, they showed up without fail.
Wow.
We'd feed them, and the most popular thing was breakfast for dinner.
Oh, okay. It's different.
So, but yeah, total of 24 men and women put time in on the car,
Uh-huh.
including the wife.
Okay.
So,
basically, you know, you gutted the whole thing.
Yep.
You rebuilt it.
Yep.
You know, there's a new
the only
engine.
thing that
in-
wasn't done in my garage was the interior. I have a friend who has now passed away, Jim Hartman. He
Mhm.
did all the seats in the back seat.
Right. So you did the paint too?
Yep.
Wow. Okay.
There's still paint on the floor.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Did you
I have
do-
a big garage.
Yeah. Did you do the pinstriping too?
No, I had a fellow guy walked around. We belong to a club that meets every first Friday in Lansdale,
Okay.
and this guy came along and handed me one of his cards about pinstriping. I says, "Oh." I says, "Well, let me talk to you." So he actually came to our house, and he did all the pinstriping, what's on the tail end, and all this. And the price was really right. I couldn't hardly argue when he told me how much. I says, go for it. And I mean, I didn't tell him what to do. He did all himself.
Right.
So it really came out nice. Everybody likes it.
I look at pinstriping and I'm thinking, how do they know what to put on? And you always see it,
And this guy did all freehand.
Yeah, that impresses me
that was, and I just left him to his own. I didn't want to look over his shoulder or nothing, but I'd come out every so often and see what. He says, "Is this okay?" I says, "It's great.
Yeah,
I love it."
Okay.
So.
Okay, now tell us a little bit about this surfboard here. Do you still go out and do the waves?
The first show we went to, my neighbor came out and said, wait, I got something for you. So she ran back in her house and comes out with her son's longboard. And it was blue, but it was more of a lighter blue. And she says, you got to take this with you. I says, okay. So we took it to the first show, and I wound up leaving that show and going right to the hospital with a case of pneumonia, and returned her board to her and asked her if she wanted to sell it. No. So every show we went to after that, everybody says, where's the surfboard? I says, well, it was the neighbor's. It was on loan. So her son didn't want to sell it. So we were down in Ocean City about 3 years ago, and I went to one surf shop. He had a board about that tall, about that wide, and about that thick, all cedar, finished natural, beautiful. And he wanted $900. I said, that's a little more than I wanted to spend for this. It's just for looks. So anyway, he said, that's all I got. So we went to another shop in Ocean City, and the guy says, oh yeah, come on upstairs. This was the first board he showed me. And I says, well, how much for that board? 125. He says, sold. I brought it home. My painter painted it to match the car, and then I had the pinstriper come in. He pinstriped the car and the board all the same day. So
he did all that pinstriping in one day.
Only about 2 or 3 hours. I mean, this guy was really good.
Yeah.
So I ought to get his card out and give you his name, so put a plug in for him.
That's impressive. That's impressive. Yeah. So you drive this a lot?
Mainly just shows. We were to a show last night in Lansdale, first Friday. Wound up getting a nice trophy, People's Choice. So, and was up last week. We were up at Percy and got a top 50 out of it. So, the first year I was really going to a lot more shows, and the first year we did 27 trophies from August of 14 to November of 15. 27 trophies. And probably the same amount of shows, maybe a few more. After that, I said, where are we going to put all these? And the wife says, yeah, you're right. Where are we going to put all these? So luckily the kids have gone, and the one bedroom she's filling up with trophies. And I bought her a 74 Pontiac Firebird, Formula 455, which is a fairly rare car. The price was right. So she gets some trophies too, So
even, the trophies, you got a lot of them, but just to be recognized for having a nice car and, the work and the story behind it, why, how all these people came and helped you build the car. And to me, that's neat.
We took a picture of the car with all the trophies lined up next to it, and we took it over to Walmart and had it made into a Christmas card. And we sent it to all the guys that worked on the car and said, thanks. Without you, I could have never had this. So I have really good friends.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So you're doing good now. right?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
you look good.
There was no cancer, thank
Yeah,
God.
Good.
Got a new hip,
Yeah.
you know. So we're hanging in there.
Good. Good.
Retired, going on 10 years.
And you're
Enjoying life.
it. Yes, that's it.
It looks like it. Well, thank you for coming out today and braving the weather, and we appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
On the road again. Just can't.
Okay, well, now we are here at a 67 Rambler owned by John Pellman. And John, how long have you had this car?
I personally have had it for about 4 years, but it's been in the family, in the extended family, since it was brand new.
Oh, that is neat.
And you were telling me this is kind of like a barn find type thing, if we can give it that term.
Well, my mom's best friend from high school bought the car brand new. Her and her husband owned it for 7 or 8 years. They sold it to their next door neighbor. They had it for a year or two, and I guess their son was driving it and hit a deer with it, and they parked it in front of the barn or on the side of the barn, and that's where it sat for a year or two. And then my mom and dad were at her best friend's house for dinner, and they saw the car sitting next to the neighbor's barn, and Dad said, "Hey, what are they doing with the old Rambler?" "Oh, I don't know. They'd probably sell it." So Dad went and asked, and sure enough, they sold it, and here it is.
So you had it all that time, and first of all, there's not many of these out there. Am I correct?
I believe there were about 500 made, 500 convertibles made in '67.
Of these SST, which is the sporty model, I guess.
Yeah, and I don't even know if the 500 is just the SSTs or if that's the SST, the 770, the 550, and if that's all the models.
It's rare no matter what.
I would guess there's 3 or 4 dozen of them left.
But the most unique thing about this car is where it went. I remember, and that's why I wanted to talk to you about this car. And you were here last year at Duryea Day, and we talked, and then I saw you a few weeks ago. And so you have to talk about traveling. Where did this car go?
Well, this was Mom and Dad's vacation car. But in its lifetime, it's been in all 48 contiguous U.S. states, of course, excepting Hawaii and Alaska. Over the years, though, my parents took 2 trips to California and, hit a number of the states through the northern tier of the country, and then on the southern trip back. And at one point, they sat down trying to figure out all the states that the car was in and realized it had never gone through the state of Nebraska.
So you came up with a vacation to Nebraska.
So Mom and Dad took a vacation to Nebraska so they could say the car was in all 48 states.
And you saw what in Nebraska?
No, I wasn't with them, but from what I understand, there's cornfields. Well, from what I understand, there's cornfields, there's marijuana fields, which, the officials don't want to talk about. But apparently that's the number 1 or number 2 cash crop. And there's Carhenge, which is a scale recreation of Stonehenge using old Cadillacs.
But it's not worth going from Pennsylvania to Nebraska.
I'd have to say no, but, to each his own.
I apologize to any viewers we may have in Nebraska.
Yes, no offense.
Nebraska is not. I can't. That's not a vacation
destination, vacation spot. Yeah.
Okay. So you've had this car it's been in the family for quite a while here, and so a lot of miles. I guess there would be because you've, special trip to Nebraska and everything. So.
The odometer, I think, reads right now 78 or 79,000. I know that's rolled over at least once. I'm not sure if it's rolled over a second time.
It runs pretty good still?
Yeah.
after all these years?
Yeah.
And it's all original, right? You haven't replaced.
Pretty much. It's the original motor, pretty much original drivetrain. My dad made a few modifications to it along the way, added an electronic ignition box, converted it from manual steering to power steering, and from vacuum wipers to electric wipers, which if you've ever had to rely on these old vacuum wipers in a rainstorm, you know that as soon as you turn them on, they do nothing. So you have to roll the window down in the rain, reach out, give the wiper a flip, and then it'll start working.
Wow.
And then when you stop at the first stoplight or stop sign, the wipers stop, and you got to roll the window down and give them another flip after you start moving. So, yeah, that was probably the best upgrade we made on the car.
Yeah. I just thought of something else. There was a breakdown on one of these trips. I remember you talking about that, and that was unique too. I forgot all about that, right? Boy, it's a good thing I just remembered. Yeah, and tell us about that.
So, on one of the trips, I don't know if it was one of the trips to California or my parents used to go to the national AMC meets, and there was one in Wisconsin. I think it was on that trip. They were in the upper peninsula of Michigan, and the alternator died in the car. Well, they didn't know that it was dead, shut the car off, and when they went to restart it, nothing. So, being a stick shift car, they were able to push start it, pop the clutch, get it to go, and they got it to a garage, and here the garage had been an AMC dealership, Nash Hudson AMC dealership way back, and Dad pulled in and told the fellow what was wrong with it, and he said, "I think I have an alternator for this car." He goes back in the back shelf, comes out with a dusty old box, brings it out. Yep, it's the right alternator. He puts it on, fills up the gas tank, and when my dad asked him what he owed him for the gas and the alternator, the guy said, "Just let me take a picture or two of the car in front of the dealership, because we haven't seen one of these in probably 40 years." So, and he refused to take any money then. So,
That's neat.
yeah. So there's some pretty cool people out there.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot. So, okay.
All right.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, well, we're back here at the truck field, and we're with Bob Shuttleworth, and he's got a GMC here, a 46. Okay, and tell us a little bit about this truck.
Well, my dad purchased this truck in 1996, and it took him and I 4.5 years to restore it, and it's all original. It's got the original 228 GMC truck motor in it, which has got the full pressured oil system in, and it's all steel. There's no fiberglass fenders or nothing in here. And what else would you like to know about it?
So it's all original. Like, has it been repainted? Because the paint job is beautiful.
It's been repainted. It was repainted, finished in 2000, and my dad did most of the work except for the paint job. He did all the rest of the body, the engine work, the frame work, and all that, and the interior and stuff. He did. Yep.
This truck, I knew your dad. He came to the museum once and was asking if I knew anything about the grills on these, because there's a problem. You know, this is 46. It was a transition year between what was going on in World War II, where they were conserving certain metals. And, you know, so this is like, okay, is this chrome? Is it polished? Is it painted? And so there's a whole question.
Guess it was a painted grill at the time. But this grill was so bad that we made it look good with lead, and
it looks
painted
all right.
it gray.
Looks good. But it was interesting, and it's one of those little nuances, I guess, of the the old vehicle hobby is like you're always researching this. You know, when did they switch over from this plan to that plan?
We had a problem. We really didn't really know if this was a 46 or a 47.
Okay.
So right now it's registered as a 46, maybe a 47.
Okay.
So we still don't know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, but it's a nice truck. I mean, this is really spectacular, and so.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So, now I have full closure here. Okay, I work with Bob, or we work in the same
Together.
place. He
Same
works.
place.
He works. Okay, and I'm just there. Anyway, on your toolbox lid, you have a picture of this, and and I see it quite often, and
Yep.
that kind of gets
picture
my.
was taken at the second Oaks show down at the the Oaks Rod and Custom show.
Yeah. Okay.
Second year they had it. Yeah.
So it's a neat truck, and also in the back of this you have a kind of an old Coca-Cola cooler. I saw that sitting back there, and that's kind of neat too.
It belonged to my grandfather, so
Really?
it's still,
Okay.
my grandfather, and there's not many of those around that you can
No.
see.
No.
Yeah.
So.
You drive this quite a bit, or?
I haven't driven it to shows for a while. 7 years ago, my wife, she got ill, and then I just decided to not do anything until this year. Then I got it back out of the mothballs and cleaned it up and brought it out. So.
Well, it's a beautiful looking truck, so thanks
Well,
for bringing it.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
bringing it. Yeah.
Well, now I'm tired.
I'm tired too. It's been
We-
a long day.
It has. We've been all over the park, and I think we saw some good stuff today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely good stuff, and really enjoyed the cars. We probably could have talked to the owners of every car here. There's always a lot of interesting things and interesting stories and things, and a lot of neat people too. So.
Oh yeah, and I think we've already got our eye on some cars maybe you want to check out next year.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And we kind of eyed up some cars, a couple vehicles that are going to be, we'll say, our special guest when we're back in the museum. So.
Yeah, some people we might want to have join us for a little longer.
Oh, yeah.
Or, especially the locals. So, yeah, we did some research and we did a show, all in one.
Absolutely.
Amazing.
Yep.
So I think all in all, considering, I think we had a good Duryea day this year. I hope you at home were able to come out and see some of the other cars here in addition to the ones we checked out up close. If not, you're going to have to join us next year. Duryea Day is always the Saturday of Labor Day weekend here at Boyertown Community Park. And last year we had... we don't have our numbers yet for today as I'm talking, but last year we had over 600. I know we didn't get that many today. Weather, the rain, just, oh well. Mother Nature, you're not going to mess with her. So, but it was a good day and great stuff. And we thank all the owners that agreed to be on the show today and gave of their time and came back to their cars when we called them to stop looking at other stuff in the park and come back and talk to us. And we appreciate that. And again, we appreciate our sponsor for this month, Haggerty. Thank you for helping us get out here to the park in September and to start off the fall and check out some really cool cars. And next month, we'll be back at the museum, back in the diner.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got a little bit of a different show, I think, next month.
Oh yeah.
We're going to talk a lot of... We're
I
excited.
Can't wait for it. Yeah.
Hey, we're going to have breakfast for dinner, like we were talking
Oh,
with our one
we
car
are?
owner earlier. Yeah,
Oh.
next month. And
Okay.
it'll all make sense when we get there. We're going to have a fun show for you next month.
Okay.
We're going to look at some roadside things too, not just cars. So everyone, hope you made it out to Duryea Day. If you didn't, hope you enjoyed this little peek into the show and enjoyed the cars and their owners, and we'll see you in October.
Okay.
On the road again. Just can't wait to get on the road again. The life I love is making music with my friends.